Hi everyone, my name is Wasifa, and in today's video, I am going to teach you the difference between used to, get used to, and be used to. Many learners have trouble with these different phrases, and the reason is they are so similar, but they have very different meanings. So let's get started by talking a little bit about the difference between used to and get used to. Okay, when we talk about used to, this is the one you might already know. We use used to talk about the past. We use used to talk about something we did in the past. Usually, it is a repeated action. This means it happened more than once, or it was a routine in the past. I also want you to pay close attention to my pronunciation, used to. Okay, so even though there's an ED, we're not pronouncing it like used, we're pronouncing it as one syllable, as use, used to. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about get used to, and then I'm going to give you some examples so you can understand the differences between these two phrases. So used to, we use to talk about the past. Get used to can be used to talk about the past, the present, or the future. We use get used to when we are talking about something we have become accustomed to, something we've become familiar with, something that might have been strange at first, but then it became normal. These types of situations are when we use the phrase get used to. So let's look at some examples. So we'll start with used to. In the past, you see I have the music symbols here. How do you think I used to listen to music? Well, when I was in high school, I used to listen to CDs. For those of you who are really young, you might not know what a CD is, so let me grab one for you. I have here my Guns N' Roses CD. So I used to use a CD player, and I used to lie down on my bed and listen to Guns N' Roses. I'd listen to their CD. So that's how we use used to. Now, you might see here a funny picture. I'm not a great artist. I'm a terrible artist, actually. But this is supposed to be me, and that thing on my head, that's a mask. So during the coronavirus, at the beginning, everyone had to start wearing masks in my city, like this blue one. At first, it was very strange. It felt uncomfortable, it was weird, I was not used to it. But then, because I wore the mask every day, it became normal for me. I became accustomed to it. So in this case, what I can say is, I got used to wearing a mask during coronavirus. So now we're going to look at some more examples of the difference between used to and get used to really help you understand the differences between these different phrases. Okay, so now let's look at some examples of used to and get used to. These examples will really show you the difference in the meaning of these two phrases. So, and actually, I have some things to show off in order to demonstrate used to. The first sentence, I used to read this book. What book am I talking about? Let me go grab it. Okay, so this is a book from my childhood. I used to love this book. It's called Mr. Bell's Fix-It Shop. When I was a child, I used to read this book. So notice how we have used to, and then we have a verb, read. Is there anything strange about the verb? Or do we have ing at the end? Do we do anything with this verb? No, it's actually really simple. We keep this verb in the base form. We don't do anything to it. I used to read this book. When I was a child, I used to watch cartoons. Now I don't really because I don't have time, but when I was a child, I used to watch cartoons. Every Saturday morning, I used to watch cartoons. So again, I have my verb here, used to, and the verb that comes next, watch, is in its base form. We don't do anything to it. We just use the base form of the verb. Nice and simple. Okay, this is a fact for you about me. When I was in high school, I used to have red hair. So I used to have red hair. Again, we're talking about something in the past that is not true now. And if you look at the verb I'm using, have, we are not putting it in the past tense. We're using the base form of the verb. Why? Well, used to is actually in the past tense, so we don't need to do anything to this verb. It's just in the base form. So, if you like math, maybe you like math more than English, I have here our formula. We have used to plus a verb, and that's how we talk about repeated actions or routines in the past. So now this is very different from get used to. So this is true. When I was younger, I used to wake up maybe 9 a.m. I used to wake up late. Now for work, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. I got used to waking up at 6 a.m. This means it's normal for me, it's my habit, it's easy for me. I got used to waking up at 6 a.m., so it's normal. What do you notice about the verb here? You might notice that after used to, the verb ends in ing. Another way to say this is we use a gerund after used to. A gerund is the fancy grammar way of saying a verb with ing. And this is in the past tense. How do we know? Well, instead of using get, I'm using the past tense verb here, got. So used to stays the same, but our verb get becomes got in the past tense. Okay, let's look at the present tense. I am getting used to my new job. I started a new job recently. At first, it was strange. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where things were. But now, after a couple of weeks, things are becoming normal for me. I'm accustomed to my new job. So I can say, I am getting used to my new job. So you may notice that we have getting. I'm getting used to. And in this case, we're using the present continuous tense. You can use any tense with get. This is just one example. And again, the meaning here is that things used to be strange at the beginning, but now they're normal. I'm accustomed to my new job. And again, you'll notice we have ing, in this case, we don't actually have a second verb. We actually have a noun. So after get used to, you can have a verb with ing, or you can have a noun. You have a choice. Let's look at another example of get used to. This time we'll use this in the future. I will get used to living in the city. So maybe, as an example, my cousin lives in the countryside and she plans to move to the city. She might say, I will get used to living in the city. So again, we have will. This just means we're talking about the future. Get used to, and then we have a verb here, living. The verb after get used to ends in ing. This means that in the future, my cousin thinks things will be very strange at first, moving to a city, but eventually it will become normal for her. She will become accustomed to living in a city. So here is the math formula. So actually, I'm going to add the word get here. Get used to plus verb ing. Okay, so that's how these are different. This, the base form of the verb, follows, whereas in this case, verb with ing is what comes after get used to. So now we are going to find out about be used to. Okay, so we've talked about used to, and we've talked about get used to. What about be used to? What does that mean? Well, the nice thing is, be used to actually has the same meaning as get used to. So I'm going to just draw an arrow, because you can use either of these, be used to or get used to. So I'm going to give some examples of be used to. Again, get used to and be used to mean to become accustomed to something, to become familiar with something, when something is strange or unusual, but then it becomes normal. That's when we use these words. So our verb be can take many forms. I'm going to show you some of the forms it can take. We have I'm used to or I am used to. In this case, am is a form of the be verb. I'm used to it. And notice we have used to, I'm used to. And what follows used to? We have it. So similarly to get used to, be used to can be followed by a noun or a pronoun. Let's look at another example. You are used to waking up at 6 a.m. So we have here our be verb. In this case, in the simple present tense, it's are. We have used to, and then we have a verb, waking up. Waking up, you'll notice, ends in ing. So it's similar to get used to. Verbs we use with be used to end in ing. Okay, so these are just some examples. And again, these are the same. Used to is the one that is different. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It might take some time to get used to the differences between used to and get used to and be used to. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to ring the bell. By subscribing, you will see a lot more videos on grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, and many other topics of English. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.